After having the most dominant season of any receiver in 2022 out in Houston, and his impressive showing at the Senior Bowl, Tank Dell became known on a much larger basis. His small frame, elite route running, and shiftiness caught the eyes of many. While it's fun to imagine someone of his size tearing it up in a league, what are his chances of actually doing so? As I previously mentioned, Tank Dell is some of the most intricate route running out of any receiver in this year's class. He's able to bend his routes accordingly based on what the DBs give him. After number 8 motions into the slot, Tank is essentially left alone to play man coverage on the outside. He immediately rushes up the boundary and cuts in for what I'm assuming is supposed to be a post route. When he turns his head back to Clayton Tune, he notices him scrambling out right. It's at this point where Dell cuts back, leaving the hips of the DB locked in place, and he gains a few yards of separation to make a nice catch on the sideline. This savvy, especially in a league that's becoming more heavily based on extending the play, is going to be invaluable to whichever team calls him up on day 2. Not only does Tank Dell have a sharp understanding of how to create separation downfield, he debatably has some of the cleanest releases of anyone in this class. For a smaller receiver, you'd typically be worried about them getting locked up at the line, but Tank is able to frequently expose defenders and exploit them for monumental gains. Twice in this two-lane game, Tank is able to create space off the line and capitalize with a touchdown for the Cougars. His shiftiness and general agility is also put on display anytime he gets the ball in his hands. Just look at one of his many punt returns or his now famous play against Cincinnati. While there's a lot to love about Tank Dell, my favorite aspect of his, and what makes him such a unique player, is also the reason he isn't a day 1 talent. He's simply too small. Being 5'8", 160 with a 72-inch wingspan is minuscule in the NFL. And while I don't believe injuries will be a problem for him, as he hasn't missed a single game in his collegiate career, it isn't encouraging. Overall, sizes matter less and less as player safety becomes more of a prime concern, but it does define 2 major flaws in his game. First off, Tank isn't going to offer anything in terms of run blocking. He will get beat, and if you have him on the field, you're going to have to account for that. Secondly, his catch radius is just not that big. In a draft class full of smaller slot guys, it won't affect his draft stock as much as it would in other years, but it is a cause for concern. Overall, no matter where Tank Dell hears his name called, he will give his team value in the NFL. Whether that's on punt returns or in the slot, his quickness and size make him one of the most interesting prospects coming into the league this year. If you've enjoyed this film breakdown, you can check out the links in the description to find some of our other works, or choose to check out another one of the videos on the channel. Consider subscribing, liking, or sharing the video to someone who may be interested, and stay tuned as always for more football content.